Alright folks, tonight's main event, big time, so much larger than life. Bret the Hitman Hart set to go one-on-one in a non-title match against the World Heavyweight Champion, American Supreme Matt Clark.
Tonight's main event is a non-title match set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first, accompanied by Jim the Anvil Neidhart from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, weighing 222 pounds, the excellence of execution, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Bret has been up against hard times for a while now. It's like, how can a man's bad luck streak possibly get any worse? He hasn't held any kind of gold for a long time, and his win-loss record hasn't been anything to write home to the family about.
Oh, that's true. Bret's lost more matches than he's won, and that's never good for your record or your dreams of championship gold, neither.
His opponent, accompanied by Rod Whitley from Smithfield, North Carolina, weighing 265 pounds, one half of the RWO Television Tag Team Champions, and the reigning RWO World Heavyweight Champion, American Supreme, Matt Clark.
The dual champion cousins Clark and Whitley, the Southern gentlemen, coming in hot. To the delight of the capacity crowd here in Pittsburgh, Matt Clark accepts that Warlord Santos is the new face of the company, but that doesn't mean he's lost the right to build a new legacy in this second run with RWL. And hey, he's not doing so badly.
Well, the title isn't on the line, and American Supreme's been winning the lion's share of his matches. I don't imagine he's too concerned. Alright, well, Willie Johnson rings the bell. Here's our main event. Bret the Hitman Hart stopped cold. American Supreme with a kick to the midsection, winds up the arm. Bret Hart counters. Bret Hart misses with the crossbody. Supreme nails him with a clothesline. Now American Supreme Matt Clark in control of Bret the Hitman Hart. Non-title matchup in our main event tonight, but what a couple of stars. They lock up. Bret winds up the arm of American Supreme. American Supreme Matt Clark can't seem to find. Well, here we go. He turned it around. They break it up. Hart with a forearm tries to lift American Supreme, and American Supreme wasn't having it. He was just dead weight. Bret the Hitman Hart counters. Inverted DDT to Matt Clark. American Supreme finding himself in trouble here right away. By the ears. Bret the Hitman Hart just picked him up and slammed him. One. No, not even one. American Supreme Matt Clark back on his feet. Bret the Hitman Hart rolls him up. One. No, not even one again. Bret the Hitman Hart trying everything in the book here. Matt Clark nails him with a clothesline. American Supreme. Countered leg sweep from Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart. Oh, they tussle. Matt Clark shoves him down. Bret Hart counters, gets back up on his feet, charges, misses with the crossbody again. Matt Clark nails him with another clothesline. Stunned him pretty good. Jawjacker. And Bret the Hitman Hart swings and misses with the clothesline. Matt Clark gets caught up. Bret Hart nails him with a backbreaker. And now Bret Hart with the World Heavyweight Champion right where he wants him. Into a submission hold. Referee Willie Johnson watching American Supreme very closely. Matt Clark counters with some elbows. Gets himself back up on his feet. A hip toss. And Matt Clark is finally free of the hold. Matt Clark rounds up the Hitman. Goes behind on him quickly. Suplex one. Suplex two. He's going for the trifecta. Turns him around and ends it with a vertical suplex for the hat trick. American Supreme Matt Clark really going to work on Bret the Hitman Hart. Here's an arm drag from Supreme. Supreme has him up in the fireman's carry. Samoan drop for Bret Hart. Jim the Anvil Neidhart looking on. And Bret the Hitman Hart starting to take a beating here. American Supreme has him up again. Sit out powerbomb from American Supreme. Drags the Hitman center ring. Covers, hooks the leg. Down to the anvil, Neidhart. Getting directly involved here. Starts an argument with referee Willie Johnson. Matt Clark countered. Met Bret the Hitman Hart back up on his feet. Rounds up American Supreme. Matt Clark running bulldog. Down goes Matt Clark. The Hitman rolls him over. Goes for the cover and hooks the leg. One, but just the one. As close to a near fall as we've gotten in this matchup. American Supreme counters with a shot to the ribs. Whoa! Flapjack into the top rope by Bret the Hitman Hart, who tags him with an elbow across the head. Followed up with a stomp to the face. Bret the Hitman Hart covers one. Another near fall as American Supreme finds his way out. Matt Clark rounded back up by Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart sets him up against the ropes, tags him with a right hand. Matt Clark counters with another one. American Supreme whips Hart to the corner. Bret the Hitman Hart ducks out of the way, winds him up. Russian leg sweep from Bret the Hitman Hart. The excellence of execution trying to battle his way back in here. Standing dropkick takes Clark down. Now Bret the Hitman Hart really starting to press the attack. Won't be long before we see a submission move here from the Hitman. An arm breaker on American Supreme. Matt Clark making his way up to his feet on the apron. Bret Hart tags him with a right, and down he goes to the floor. Bret the Hitman Hart gonna follow him on out as the referee starts the count. Kick to the chest for American Supreme. Matt Clark rounded up again. Clark rolls him back inside the ring. American Supreme trying to turn it around here. Crossbody finally finds the mark for Bret the Hitman Hart. He says he's had enough. He's going to wrap this one up and bring it home. Back body drop from American Supreme says, oh, no, you don't. Matt Clark with the Hitman back on the canvas. And going right back to work. His cousin Rod the Bod Whitley standing by ringside watching his cousin work. Bret the Hitman Hart is laid out. Non-compass men is slowly starting to get back to his feet now. Matt Clark just watching him like a hawk. Supreme moves in now. Flips the Hitman to the far corner. The Hitman counters and escapes the corner. Matt Clark counters, puts him right back in the corner. Bret Hart counters and escapes the corner again. Breaks the monotony with a running bulldog on American Supreme. Clark rounded up again. Whipped into the corner. The Hitman with another running bulldog to the other side of the ring. Matt Clark has him up, slams him down. Well, that was close. Matt Clark goes behind, has him up, suplex. And here's another one. Again, Matt Clark going for the trifecta. Gonna nail the hat trick around here. Turns him around, has him up, vertical suplex, and that's a wrap right there. Could be the end for Bret the Hitman Hart. Matt Clark rounds him up one more time. Goes behind. But Bret the Hitman Hart counter. Tags Matt Clark with a right. Has him up over the shoulders. Drops him head first against the turnbuckle. And the Hitman now with an advantage here as Matt Clark is stunned. The Hitman goes behind into the submission on American Supreme. Basically a seated abdominal stretch. Matt Clark in big trouble here. It's another submission. Bret Hart's laid on him. But Matt Clark, again, battling his way back to his feet. Uses the hip toss to get out of the hole. Now Bret the Hitman Hart quickly back on his feet. Tags Matt Clark with a right. Has him up. Oh no, here we go, pile driver. Again, that controversial pile driver. Bret Hart covers. 1, 2. And that's as close to a near fall as we've gotten so far. Bret Hart knew it. He has taken Willie Johnson to task on the count. Rounds up Matt Clark. That pile driver, man. Whip to the corner. Standing dropkick from Matt Clark counters it. An eye gouge from Bret the Hitman Hart. The Hitman rounds up Matt Clark. Has him up, but Matt Clark countering the suplex. Goes behind on Bret Hart. Slams him down. Another triple suplex trifecta. for American Supreme Matt Clark. And he has got to have worn out the Hitman by now with 3 of those. Another vertical suplex, and that could be the end if Matt Clark would just pin the man. Grabs a knee. An elbow, into the head of Bret the Hitman Hart. Here's a cover. 1, 2. Oh, another really near fall. Another 2.8, 2.9. Matt Clark feeling that he is charged up. The fans really getting behind American Supreme here. He's got Bret Hart up. Here's a sit-out powerbomb. 1, 2. Turns it around into a Boston Crab now into a submission on Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart counters, finds his way out of the hole. Throws his way out onto the floor. And this match has been a ride and a half already so far. Man. Matt Clark follows out the Hitman. The Hitman sets him up, but Matt Clark counters. Bret the Hitman Hart counters. Matt Clark counters, takes him down. Bret the Hitman Hart rounded back up by American Supreme. Misses with the right. Bret the Hitman Hart slams his head into the apron. And down went American Supreme. Bret the Hitman Hart catches a couple of shots for American Supreme. Jim the Anvil Neidhart giving them a wide berth, a lot of space. Both men back inside the ring. Kick to the midsection. Down goes American Supreme. Here we go. Bret the Hitman Hart into the sharpshooter, but too close to the ropes. The Hitman's going to go for the cover and hope for the best. 1, 2. But another near fall. It's Supreme finding his way out, busted open, bleeding, and wiped out, but still in the game. Supreme catches a couple of shots from the Hitman, ducks the third one. American Supreme countered again. Bret the Hitman Hart. Clothesline, takes down Hart. A stomp to the chest. American Supreme in big trouble here. Alley-oop out of the corner from the Hitman. A kick to the chest. Man, Bret the Hitman Hart is wiped out. The Hitman rounds up American Supreme. Has him up for another pile driver and nails it. That pile driver, a controversial move these days, is being debated whether or not they're going to ban it or not. Bret the Hitman Hart covers 1, 2. Another near fall. American Supreme absolutely refusing to give up here. And no quit attitude of American Supreme Matt Clark. Clark counters with a forearm. Whoa. Bret the Hitman Hart tags him with a clothesline out of nowhere. The Hitman stalking American Supreme. Takes him down to the canvas. And here we go into the sharpshooter again. The sharpshooter. But, look at this. American Supreme says, no, you don't. Been there, done that. You ain't doing that to me. Elbow to the face. Bret the Hitman Hart whipped to the ropes. Collision. Matt Clark rounds up the Hitman. He's got him locked in. Bret the Hitman Hart tags him with the right. Supreme counter. Winds him up. A clothesline takes down Bret the Hitman Hart. The Hitman rounded up again. A jawjacker from Bret. A bulldog from Bret. Down goes American Supreme Matt Clark. A stomp to the back of the head. And now Bret Hart rounds him up, slams him down. A battle back and forth for control in this matchup. It's been insane. Clark with a shoulder takes him to, my God, he is just bleeding so bad. Whoa! Clark taken down by Bret the Hitman Hart to the outside. The Hitman rounds up American Supreme. Supreme counters. Bret the Hitman Hart nails him with a side suplex on the outside. The referee counting. The Hitman rounds up Clark. Snapmare and an elbow to the head. Matt Clark rounded up again. Counters Bret the Hitman, takes him down with a clothesline. Matt Clark battles his way back in. Bret the Hitman Hart tags him with a series of kicks to the leg. Bret Hart countered by Matt Clark. Clark quickly rushes back inside the ring. Less than 2 minutes to go in this matchup. How about this here? The crossbody from Bret the Hitman Hart. And he is spent. He has used up every last bit of juice he's got. Clark back up on his feet. Another kick to the midsection. Bret the Hitman Hart has him up a third pile driver for American Supreme Matt Clark. And man, the referee might want to think about stopping this one. The cover, 1, 2. Oh, shut up! How? Matt Clark is still going. American Supreme trying to get back to his feet here. Taken down by Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart, with a minute to go, stalking American Supreme, takes him down, sets him up for the sharpshooter again, and he's got it. Referee Willie Johnson watching Matt Clark, and he's tapping. That is it. Bret the Hitman Hart with an upset win over American Supreme Matt Clark by submission. Shut up.
The time, 14 minutes and 14 seconds. Your winner by submission, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Well, it is an upset win over American Supreme, but Bret the Hitman Hart needed this win, and well, by goodness, he went ahead and got it, didn't he? With a submission over American Supreme.
It's high time Bret starts making up for lost time, and this win over the World Heavyweight Champion is a good place to start repairing Bret's damaged career. He's dropped matches to Tony Dangerous twice, Gary Galaxy, Joseph Von Schmidt, Neil Mascaras, Tommy Wilcox, Count Victor Mondo, and I could go on a while longer. But the point is, Bret's dropped a lot of his matches, some of them important ones. And being honest, this current run for the Hitman is gonna find itself circling the toilet if Bret doesn't start winning more often.
But hey, what a main event it was. Oh, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? Wait a minute. Look at this Bret Hart looking like he's seen a ghost. And I don't recognize... Whoa! Holy old hell, it's Rob Torres, the Sultan of Sexy. He's been gone for more than a year. He wasn't scheduled to come back for a couple of weeks. What the hell goes on here?
Wow, Bret's bad luck streak just never seems to end. Now, just as he picks up a win, Rob Torres crashed the party. For those who don't know, Rob Torres had his very first match in our WL over 15 years ago. It was against Bret Hart, and the Sultan of Sexy Rob Torres handed out one of the most brutal beatings I've ever seen the Hitman take. His pink singlet stained red with blood, his face barely recognizable. Rob Torres put Bret on the shelf for months, and now, over 15 years later, the Sultan of Sexy has come back after a year away and is attacking Bret Hart again, like an unattended starving Doberman in a daycare center.
Geez, poor Bret must think he's having some kind of flashback. And just where the hell has Rob Torres been for a whole year? Last time we even saw anything major from Torres was when he and Dr. D. David Schultz split up as the Tennessee Studs, with the former tag team champions leaving Freddie Blassie high and dry.
That was a damn shame, too. The Tennessee Studs was a solid team. Him and Dr. D. David Schultz clicked like a 21-jewel watch.
Not a peep since then, and now Rob Torres just pops in seemingly out of the twilight zone as far as Bret Hart's concerned.
You saw the look on his face when Rob Torres showed up on the ramp. He froze like a deer in the damn headlights.
Bret's fighting back, but he's already wiped out from his match with Matt Clark. Rob Torres chose the perfect time to strike, like he's always done.
The Hitman going under the ring for an equalizer here.
The Hitman introducing a table into the mix here. But Rob Torres, he's... Oh man, slammed him right on the table. Kick to the... and DDT'd him right on the table. Head first just busted him open, split his forehead open. Oh man, Rob Torres doing it to Bret Hart all over again. The Hitman trying to sell the fans that he's okay, but his face is already pouring blood, and I think Rob Torres has already done the desired amount of damage.
Yikes on trikes, the Hitman is a flowing fountain of blood. Like something out of Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Yeah, something like Blood Feast or 2000 Maniacs. I love that guy's movies. The Hitman trying to battle his way back against this Pearl Harbor style attack from Rob Torres, but so far it's been all about the Sultan of Sexy just beating the crap out of the Hitman. Despite his best effort, you can see for yourself, he is just pouring blood all over the place. Rob Torres coming back after 15 years to do the same thing he did the first time around when they met. Torres got him all the way up, slams him all the way down. And oh man, Bret the Hitman Hart is a wreck. Elbow to the face. Rob Torres countered by the Hitman. Torres counters the Hitman. Another elbow to the face. Torres quickly goes behind. Here we go. Triple suplex. For Bret the Hitman Hart, this is probably going to be the end of it. He's taken 4 of those already. Oh, man. Rob Torres absolutely destroying Bret the Hitman Hart here tonight. Unbelievable.
At some point, Bret Hart has to be wondering why me. The Sultan of Sexy popping up like Godzilla out of Tokyo Bay. And once again, Bret Hart played the role of Tokyo. Rob Torres saying loud and clear that he is back. And then, what's that gonna mean for the rest of the locker room? I'm stunned senseless. Rob Torres has returned.
A little older, a nice improvement on the mullet, and still mean as a snake. I see very little has changed for the Sultan of Sexy. And he showed up during Brit's match with Matt Clark. Clark and Torres have bad blood as well, with American Supreme putting Torres on the shelf for months for striking Crystal DeBoer. I'm sure Matt Clark must also be shocked by the return of Rob Torres.
He wasn't supposed to come back till the end of April.
Alrighty, that's gonna do it for this week's RWL Snarl. As always, we thank you for sharing some of your time with us, hopefully being entertained. Okay, we'll all be back Saturday, April the 12th, with another edition of Snarl. But up next, stay tuned for our WL Rage. For all of us here, Wally Cardinal saying thanks, good night, and be safe.